Let's talk some Panthers. And joining us right now on the Ring Central hotline is Jonathan Jones, covers the Panthers for the Charlotte Observer. Ring Central, the providers of cloud phone and collaboration solutions for easy and seamless business communications. Interesting day on the practice field, huh, Jonathan? What happened?
Yeah, it was a listen. It's not every day you see the $103 million man down on the ground fighting with a teammate. Here's the blow by blow. Cam, they're in team drills 11 on 11, and Cam throws an interception as the pocket collapses. It's a little low behind his receiver, and Josh Norman, the young and upcoming cornerback, goes down to the ground and gets it. He gets up because he's not tagged down, and he starts running towards the end zone as he's told to do. And as he gets closer to the end zone, he gives a stiff arm to Cam right in the face mask, kind of curls his fingers around the face mask, gave him a little extra. Cam didn't like that. Then began a shoving match where Josh kind of shoved Cam underneath his helmet and knocked it off, and then that's when they went to the ground and had to be separated by about a dozen teammates. But no punches were thrown. They continued yapping. They were yapping before, they were yapping after. But so far, I'm out here on the practice field right now, and one in the red jersey, he's down on another field. Josh Norman's on this one beside me, and we'll wait and see what happens during team drills shortly.
Jonathan, I know that Cam was reacting to the stiff arm, but is he generally this feisty in practice, or is this a real radical departure from how he comports himself with his own teammates?
You know, he has a very playful nature about him, and so certainly in games I have seen him many times. You know, when he throws a pick, he's running after the guy, and a lot of times he makes that tackle. And so in practice, he doesn't just kind of sit there and just stand around and let the guy run and let his guys, try to wrap him up. He goes after him, and he does it sometimes in a playful way. Sometimes he'll kind of joke with him along the way. But for the past week and a half, he and Josh have had a really heated back and forth, and it hasn't really crossed the line like it did yesterday. But they've been going back and forth, and so if you've been watching closely, you can kind of see this brewing just a little bit between these two guys in particular. So is this a mark on Cam Newton's character? I don't know. I think that the competitive side, and it had to be Josh Norman. It had to be 24 who picked him off, who stiff-armed him in the face, for him to have that reaction, and he did.
Yeah, it's interesting because he just signed this enormous deal. I wonder if, and you can get a sense by how he's carrying himself, how he's talking to you guys in the media, although he did not do it yesterday. Is there pressure he feels from this now being $100 million man?
Yeah, thanks for pointing out he didn't talk to us yesterday. We hope that he talks to us today about it. So he says there's no pressure. He's going to keep playing football the way that he plays football. He's not going to slide when he wouldn't have slid, 2 years ago. I don't know. We'll see, because you can say that, but until the bullets start flying, we don't really know. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on Cam, and that pressure comes all the way from the top. That comes from Jerry Richardson, who's never invested this type of money in a player ever before in his 21 years as an owner in the NFL. That comes from Dave Gettleman, who is an older GM in the league, who's trying to make his mark after years of being a scout and an executive with the New York Giants. And there's Ron Rivera, who, he's trying to become and earn his contract extension. So, yeah, Cam wants to be an elite quarterback. There's a lot of pressure on him, but will the money change him? Yeah, I don't know. He's been a rich guy for a number of years, and now he's richer.
Must be nice. Jonathan Jones, Panthers reporter, covers obviously the Panthers for the Charlotte Observer, with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, Jonathan, let me get your thoughts on this since you mentioned Dave Gettleman. I've known Dave, obviously, for a long time, being in the Giants organization. He was a scout and obviously an executive there. And with the announcement yesterday, and I know you're going to get asked about this, Steve Smith saying that he's going to retire, it takes me back to how he was treated by Gettleman when he left. Basically, he said you have to take an unemotional global view despite how popular or unpopular the move may be. And he kind of just unceremoniously dismissed the all-time leading receiver in Carolina Panthers history. Do you think ultimately there's a regret with how Steve Smith was treated?
I think so. And whether or not Dave will admit that, I don't know. But I think that there is some regret. He's figuring out as he goes along, because he's never been a GM before this. He's seen it happen before, but I don't think maybe, because he's not from Carolina, he didn't really necessarily understand what Steve Smith meant to this community. He didn't know what he necessarily meant to this team. He sees the stats. He sees the 89 jerseys in the stands, but it doesn't really take hold of it. I'm from Charlotte, and so I've grown up watching the Panthers. I know what Steve Smith means to this team, and I think that didn't really hit with Dave until after it happened. And you understand what he's saying, that you can't get emotional about this. You can't make emotional decisions. You have to do what's best for the team. And what he thought was best for the team was a change in atmosphere in that locker room, was to hand the huddle in the locker room over to Cam Newton and those younger receivers, because Steve is a very intense guy, and you put him beside Kelvin Benjamin, who just admitted to us the other day that he lacks a little focus and effort, and he did so last year. That could be a volatile situation. And how can Cam own this offense if he has a guy in the huddle who's going to have his statue in front of Bank of America Stadium in a few years?
That's fair. Yeah.
All those things included. Dave saw that, but yes, should he have handled it better? Should he have, sat him down and said, "Hey, this is what we're going to do"? I think so, and he learned that lesson when he handled it with D'Angelo Williams this past offseason.
Hey, Jonathan, quick assessment of the NFC South. Obviously, each year is different. Injuries and acquisitions, defections and free agent additions. So it's very hard to really predict with any sort of confidence what's going to happen. But, last year, 5 division winners won 12 games, 2 more won 11. And, of course, the NFC South, it was a bit of an eyesore with the, 7 wins for both Carolina and the Saints. Was that just an anomaly? Was that the beginning of a downward cycle? How do you size up the top of the division early on so far?
I think how bad it was last year is an anomaly. I don't think that you're going to have a division winner that wins the division with 7.5 wins. But I don't think that this division is going to be markedly better. I think that you have a Bucs team that after 2 wins, they have Jameis Winston, but how much can you really improve with a rookie quarterback, Jameis, after just having 2 wins, unless he's Andrew Luck and the Colts after they rebranded? Then you look at the Saints, and they, sold everything at the flea market except Drew Brees, and so we'll see what happens with them, but I don't know how much better they can be. And you got Atlanta, they have really good pieces, but Dan Quinn's such an incredible defensive coordinator, but how many times have we seen D coordinators or offensive coordinators get that first-time gig, and that success doesn't translate as a head coach, so that's an unknown. But what is a known is you have the Panthers, back-to-back division winners, who kept their strength strong in re-signing Greg Olsen, Thomas Davis. They're going to take care of Luke Kuechly. If it's not this offseason, it'll certainly be next offseason. They have Cam Newton, who's finally healthy, a healthy running back core. Jonathan Stewart, how he was running in December. I think this is the team to beat in the NFC South. I don't know if they'll win 12 or 13 games, but I think you have to make them the division leaders right now.
Jonathan Jones for the Panthers, Charlotte Observer. Good chat, buddy. Appreciate a couple of minutes, man. I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
Hey, thanks, fellas.
Appreciate you, Jonathan.